Hey CSM, welcome to CSM's YouTube channel. Super excited you guys are here. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to make sure that you subscribe as well as hit that bell so that you can get all the notifications of the latest CSM teachings. Listen, I can't wait for you to enjoy all this amazing content that we've been putting together for you guys, and also invite some friends, share the videos. I can't wait for you guys to experience this amazing channel. Hey CSM, welcome back to week 3 of this incredible series that we've been in, Truth versus Trends. Now, I missed you guys. We were away celebrating the holiday, President's Day. I hope you guys enjoyed your day away from school. I enjoyed my day off of work. And so this week, we're jumping right back into it. And this whole idea of truth versus trends is we're answering some really big questions. And the last time we spoke, we talked about this idea of whether or not Christianity is true. And we also discovered that truth isn't about a what, it's about a who. And that who is Jesus. And this week, what I've decided to do is for us to look at 2 cultural ideas, 2 cultural statements that many of us have subscribed to. It doesn't really matter your age or stage. At some time in your life, you've probably subscribed to these cultural ideas. And I know I have. And so to get us moving in that direction, the very first cultural phrase that I think that we should be thinking about is this: follow your heart, right? We've all heard it. Follow your heart. In fact, while we were away, some of you were celebrating Valentine's Day. I know I was. And, it was a little different this year. We weren't able to go out to the restaurant of my choice. And when I say my choice, it was really my wife's choice, but I was paying for it, right? So it was still kind of my choice. I had the decision to make whether I should or I shouldn't go. And yet none of that happened. We actually had to stay at home, and I decided to whip up something, use my chef skills a little bit. I'll teach you about that a little later. But, this whole idea of following your heart has to do with, whether or not you're following your desires and following the things that you think are right. Or maybe even following the people or the peer group that you believe mean you well. Well, here's the thing. That's a cultural idea, but guess what the truth says? And what Jesus says in Matthew chapter 16, verse 24, he says this. He says, it's not about following your heart. It's about following me. Now, not me. I mean, he's talking about following him, following Jesus. That if you begin to govern your life based on your heart versus Jesus, then a lot of times it could lead you down the wrong direction. And there's all sorts of things that can happen as a result of you just following your heart. Now, here's what I want you to know about following your heart. That if you actually follow Jesus, your heart begins to change. Your desires begin to change. The type of people that you want to spend your time with and building community with, it actually begins to change. And all of that changes because you're not just following your heart from a cultural standpoint, but you're beginning to follow Jesus from a Christian standpoint, from a standpoint that you've decided to follow somebody who has a different ethic, a different cultural impact, a person who actually changed culture forever. And so when we think about this idea of truth versus trend, sure, it's okay for you to follow your heart, but what would it look like if you decided to follow Jesus? And if you're following Jesus, I want to commend you. And if you're not, or maybe you're on the fence about whether or not you want to follow him at all, and guess what? That's okay too. Because sometimes it takes time that you may not get it all together right now. But today, at least, I hope that I can spark the interest that if you've been following your heart for so long, maybe it's time for you to try something different. Maybe it's time for you to start to follow Jesus. So that's the first statement today, right? The difference between following your heart and then following Jesus. But here's the other statement that I want to unpack in terms of us looking at these cultural trends and what truth has to say. And here it is. It says this: freedom is doing whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want. Now, I know freedom sounds like this incredible thing, right? Because it's basically whatever you want to do. But here's what I want you to know, that as we are in February and as we are a part of this country, we celebrate Black History Month. And I want you to know that freedom comes at a cost, but freedom is also something that we shouldn't take for granted, which means that we shouldn't squander it, that we shouldn't just use freedom as a means for us to do what we want, whenever we want, or with whomever we want. That in fact, it's a lot different than that, right? Because Jesus says this: freedom comes from knowing the truth and aligning yourself with it. And that's what he says. And he says, when you begin to align yourself with the new foundation of reality, that freedom is not about just this outward expression of doing whatever you want, wherever you want, with whomever you want. But freedom comes when you begin to align yourself with truth. When you begin to align yourself with the reality and how you can use your freedom to impact other people. Like, how do you use your freedom to give somebody who doesn't have a step up? Or how do you use your freedom to help somebody who may be a paraplegic or somebody who might be paralyzed? How do you use your freedom to actually help fight for rights for people who may not have those rights? How do you use your freedom in order to set other people free? See, it's easy because the cultural way of seeing freedom is like, it's all about me. But see, Jesus's ethic around freedom is about how you use your freedom to align yourself with things that help other people have a better life. And that's the challenge that I have for all of us this week. That we don't just follow our heart, but we're following Jesus. That we don't just use our freedom to do what we want to do and do it wherever we want to do it and do it to whoever we want to do it with. But how do we use our freedom so that we can impact positively the lives of those who don't have all of the freedoms or just all of the things that we have access to? Because I don't know if you know this or not, but we have right now children, students that are across the pond, and some in this very nation, maybe not even 10 miles away from where I'm standing or from where you're watching. And they may not know what they're eating for dinner tonight. They may not even have a warm blanket to put over their bodies when they go to sleep tonight. They don't even have a roof over their heads. And even if they stepped out to go to school, they probably have on the same clothes that they had on for the last 3 days. So the question is, how are you using your freedom to impact those people? To impact people who are around you that aren't even that far? How do you begin to allow you following Jesus to change your heart so that you open it up so that different people can actually experience the same love that Jesus extends to us? So you got decisions to make. You can follow the trend or you can follow the truth. We'll be back next week. Can't wait to see you.